Yo! Whoa!
Does he have money?
No.
Where's the nunchuck?
DL, does the U.S. court ruling and fine on Boeing get in the way of them operating at airports nationwide? Also, how do they teach to handle emergency landing scenarios?
Okay, so the first one, no. What's going on with Boeing and what they were doing? That's internal shit between them and the government. Like, what they were doing was absolute bullshit from my understanding. Like, and I understand how that happens. You're letting airplanes go out there and you know they're not safe. I mean, doors are not supposed to fly off the fucking airplanes at 10,000 feet. Like, that was so...
It's crazy.
And again, this is why you want to keep your fucking seatbelt on, people. While you flying around, keep your fucking seatbelts on. So, no, it doesn't affect... the thing is, the FAA just might say, all right, we're not going to let Boeing operate or whatever, but that has nothing to do with the controllers. They can't go. Right. What was the second half of that question?
The emergency scenarios, handle emergency landing scenarios.
All right, so that's why you train. Yes, and that's why you train. This is why you need on-the-job training. We can sit you down and say, hey, when an emergency happens, you need to get the aircraft full identification number, the type of aircraft, the number of people on board, and how much fuel. Right? We can teach you that in training. But when you're sitting there working, you're doing your thing, and some pilot keys up, right? It's just normal operations, right? Everyone's talking like this. United 15 Heavy, Roger, turn left heading 330. Okay, 330, United 15 Heavy. Next thing you hear is, we're going down. You hear that shit sometimes, just like that. Okay, who the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Right, so you're looking at your radar, you're talking to other people, and it's like, okay, Collins Tower, reference going down, say your call sign. You got to be calm. You can't match their freaking craziness with, they need your voice to be calm. Oh, sorry, yeah, we just lost an engine. This is Cessna 22 uniform. Cessna 22 uniform, ident, say your position. Ident is a function you do. You push a button and it makes you light up on the screen. Yeah. So you see the guy ident. Oh, that motherfucker's up there in Fort Lauderdale's airspace. I got to keep him. So so this is, and this is how you're trained. You got to get all that information out of him. I need your full call sign, how many on board. I know what type of emergency or the type of emergency, right? All that stuff. And then I have to be talking to the controllers up there at Fort Lauderdale on internal lines. Hey, Fort Lauderdale Tower, Miami Tower. Yeah, on the ident, Cessna 22 uniform, engine out, 3 miles northeast of whatever fix. And they'll say, okay, radar contact. Now, depending on where you are, there's a lot of levels of who should be talking to this airplane. The FAA is like, no, you keep talking to him. So what we're going to do, the supervisor or whoever's in charge is going to take all your other frequencies and all your other airplanes and give them to other people. So all you're doing is talking to this dude who has no engine and a single engine airplane. You understand this is a problem. You got one propeller and that shit ain't working, right? So you're coming down. So, and we're talking to, okay, how you want to handle it? Hey, get them straight into, 16 or whatever. I forget what runways they got. I think they got a 9 up there. I forget what runways, but just, get them straight into 16. Winds calm, altimeter's 29 or 9 or 8. Roger, I'm telling the pilot all this information. I'm trying to keep him calm. Calm down, sir. Try to restart. We're trying to restart, negative restart. You know what I mean? Say altitude leaving. Yeah, we're leaving we're leaving 5,500. Roger, say airspeed. Like, you're doing all kind of stuff, keeping them busy, stay focused. We got you straight in, runway 16, whatever, wind calm. And, report the airport in sight. We see the airport. Anything he asks for, you're going to give him. And then you just doing what you can, right? And normally in that scenario, the guy's like, okay, we don't have enough altitude. We're not going to make the airport. So now, okay, what are you going to do? Okay, stay in tensions. And they're going to be looking around like, okay, we see a big field over here. Looks like some sort of field. We're just gonna go hit. We're gonna make this field over here. Or sometimes it's like, okay, I can't make Fort Lauderdale, but Opelika's right there. Opelika is 3 o'clock, 4 miles. If you want to try to make Opelika, turn right heading 180.
What if they're on the water?
That's happened before. That's not optimal. You don't want that. You rather have them on the ground. So that's again. So
the
the
water's
answer
actually worse.
It's way worse. So the answer to your question, bro, is the on-the-job training and experience dictates how you handle these emergencies. There's so many emergencies.
What's the survival rate on that?
Really good.
Really?
Really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they don't got a propeller or the engine's out. How the hell do they land that thing?
They float. Still floating. Right? This airplane got wings.
Yeah.
Or
right?
you could call Homelander.
Right. Oh my God. Let me teach you how to make some jokes, bro.
Yeah.
So no,
right,
like a small airplane. You think of like a Cessna, small airplane.
Yeah.
They can land on the street. They can land in the field.
Okay.
They can pretty much land.
So you're just trying to glide that thing in as best you can.
Right now, if it's a jet, Jet loses an engine. It's fine. They got at least one more,
Yeah.
right? Some have 4 engines, some have just 2. And a jet can fly. They're good. But there's been times when the jet will lose both engines. And so jets don't float as good as Cessnas.
Yeah.
They come down faster. So everything just has to happen faster.
And they probably need way more space to be able to.
They got way more altitude. They have procedures on board the pilots. Like pilots got a lot of, they practice for this. So they engine out, dual engine out. They're trying to restart. I got so many stories about that. But again, survival race on that, bro. I'm thinking maybe 2, 3. I'm making up numbers here, guys, but I'm thinking like maybe 3% in bad.
Okay.
Like you stand a better chance on an airplane than you do walking across the street here in Brickell.
Okay. There you go.
All right. So that's wild, man. Like so emergency landings they happen fairly often, and they have. That's good to know that the survival rates are so high. Now, why is landing in the water so bad? I would think landing in the water would be easier because it maybe has to be a softer plane, but
I mean,
when you're hitting water at that speed, maybe it's
think of the aerodynamics and think of water.
yeah.
Like you ever run your hand across the water like this, and then just so that's airplanes got all kind of shit like that. So normally when a plane tries to land in water, it cartwheels, it flips, it does all kind of, it was just bad, breaks apart right away.
Gotcha.
That thing, the Miracle on the Hudson with Scully Sullenberger, I think it was.
Yeah, this was years ago.
Yeah, they took off of I think it was LaGuardia or Newark, one of the two, and lost both engines because he flew through a flock of birds, and the birds, bird strikes are the number one thing to look out for. By the way, birds will bring your airplane down faster than a missile. So like you got these huge.
He ran into a flock of birds,
and they went to the engine.
Yeah, and they all got sliced up and killed, and then they
blew the engines out.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, they were telling him you can go to Teterboro. Teterboro's over here. Like, can't make Teterboro. You can come back to the airport. Can't make the airport. He's like, I'm gonna land in the Hudson. Oh, so he kept his landing gear up. He's like a really good glider pilot. So he's like used to this. And they just happen to have the right guy sitting on that airplane at the right time. Any other pilot would have been on that airplane. At least half of the people on that plane was supposed to not survive.
Wow.
They landed that thing on the water, and they were standing on the wings waiting for the boats to come pick them up. That was absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything like that. You'll probably never see anything like that again. Watch any video of World War II planes trying to land in water. You see them cartwheeling or 737s
because it's not stable. So since it's not stable,
it gives.
Okay.
So you're not gonna skip. You might skip a little bit, but at some point you're gonna slow down enough to that water's gonna grab you.
Yeah.
And
let me ask you this: the movie with Denzel Washington, was it Flight?
When he was drunk.
Yeah. How realistic is that? Gotta ask this. You fucking flipped the plane over like 180 degrees.
Hey, the best way to answer this is
and landed it the other way. Like,
could it happen?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So it is possible.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, will you ever see anything like that in real life? Crazy. No.
Yeah.
The plane will rip apart before that. We fly. Okay, we're flying. We're upside down, but we're flying, right?
Yeah.
Using one engine to.
Because I was thinking like he had an engine blowout, right? Was that the issue?
Yeah, they had some sort of. They lost. The airplane was malfunctioning, so the engine just went out, and it was rotor. It was something to do with his rudder and some other stuff. So what they did was. So a bunch of technical guys got together and like, well, if you had this thing and this thing, let's run it through the sim, and the sim shows you this. So like technically it can be done.
Okay,
that was movie magic, bro.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can
and
you?
He did it drunk too.
Right. He was doing blow.
Yeah.
So and he was smashing the hot flight attendant.
Yeah.
So so can you take a machine gun and go kill 100 bad guys? And
of course
you could do it. How often is that gonna happen?
Yeah,
Highly
improbable.
I had an M60 and I was firing from the hip with blanks, and I damn near pulled my back muscles out, thinking, well, Rambo could do it. And bro, I was like, no.
Yeah, fair enough.
You need 2 hands on that, baby.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the chats. Were you working air traffic during 9/11? Oh, good question.
I was off that day.
If so, what kind of protocols would you do during an emergency situation like that? That's got to be crazy. Yeah.
I was off that day. Thank goodness. We all got calls though. They were like, in case they needed us to come in. You'll never. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that again ever. America just is different now. After that, you just won't be able to coordinate something like that. The way that the air traffic controllers handled that day, monumental. And what happens is air traffic controllers are all A-type personalities. They all make decisions. So
of course, yeah.
There's a video out there of a manager who didn't want to make a decision. So they were like, listen, at some point the controllers figured out this is an attack. A lot of former military guys, Navy guys, Air Force guys, Army
Yeah,
guys.
because did the terrorists jump on there and make demands with the air traffic controls?
Well, the terrorists were talking, thinking they were talking to the people on the plane, internal, but he was broadcasting, and you can hear the accent. The motherfucker's like, uh-oh. So, and all the controllers at all the different facilities figured it out quick. All right, a big airplane flies into a big building. Okay, something like that could happen. It's crazy. It's never happened before. New York, wow, restrictive airspace. This is crazy. Second one happens. This is an attack. Off rip. Second one. And it was the only airplanes that were big enough to do what it did. So it was like, no, the same type 757s. All right, this is what they did. And you have more airplanes that were off the grid and kind of doing kind of crazy stuff. So they knew there was some controllers like, look, this is an attack. We need to scramble, jets, fighters.
Yeah. Which they all had training that day.
And yes, and there's a video, there's audio out there of a guy, may have been a guy or a woman, that was like, I don't know what I should do. And the controller was like, scramble the jets, call the military, get them. We can talk to them. But even back then, we could just hit a button, and talk to them, scramble the jets. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. It was one of those kind of controllers that just do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm authorized. Damn that. Right, we don't know how many more. So, and it was
the reluctance is because they know the jets are going to shoot them down.
Well,
that's why they're
reluctant. Armed and ready. Back then, we weren't running caps.
Weren't running what?
We weren't running combat air patrols.
Ah, okay.
So you don't know. I mean, it's okay. We got some F-16s, but they don't have any weapons on board. So what are they gonna do? Well, those Army guys would ram the plane. They'll fly their F-16 into the plane if they had to, and they'll just eject.
Oh shit.
The United States military, and those of us who serve, y'all don't understand what it takes to keep this country America, to keep our freedoms, whether you like them or not. Y'all don't understand what it means to do America's business. When you got guys out there, men and women out there who will fly their aircraft into another aircraft to keep you safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I hear people, I mean, it's your right. Freedom is ugly, and I want people to say what they want to say and all that. Yeah, it's your right to burn the flag, but don't get mad at me if you wind up wrapped up in that burning flag. I mean, that's just, that's how I looked at it. You know what I mean? So no, the air traffic controllers did an outstanding job. They cleared the airspace and they shut down the United States airspace system, and they did it in astounding time. They were landing airplanes everywhere. So you had, air carriers, these big airplanes just landing at nearest
airports. And I'm assuming
airports.
they did that immediately to identify which planes were compromised.
Yeah.
Right?
And that got coordinated for the entire national airspace system. And within, I want to say it was a matter of hours, the entire airspace system was sterilized. There was only thing flying was military. Everything was on the ground. I mean, everything. In this country, if you own a plane, if you own like a Cessna, Bonanza, Cherokee, you can get in your plane and go fly around. Not that day. Everything was shut down. That is absolutely amazing. I wasn't at work that day, but I am proud to say I am an air traffic.
Were you like on leave?
I was off. It was my day off.
It was your day off? Wow.
One of my friends called me, my friend Kim. Shout out to you, Kim. She calls me.
Where were you stationed at that?
I was in Van Nuys. Okay. So I was living in Canyon Country. So I'm like in the suburbs. I've been out doing bad boy stuff. And I keep getting these phone calls. And I finally answered the phone. It was my friend Kim. Like, what's up, girl? She was like, an airplane flew into the World Trade Center. I'm like, what kind of airplane was it? She's like, I don't know, like a Cessna. I'm like, I just bounced off, no problem. She's like, it was a big Cessna. And I'm like, she's like, just watch TV. Turn on TV right now. So I turn on the television and I see it smoking. And I'm like, yeah, it's a big fucking Cessna. And like now I see what's going on. People are calling from work. Like all the controllers had to check in. They're like, they can call us in. Like when something like that happens, air traffic control becomes like an arm of the military.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it's like if they ordered me to come in that day, I'd have had to go into work and stand by and do whatever needs to be done. We were all checking in. We're all checking out for each other. Everybody cool. That was a great day for air traffic control. It was a horrible day for America, but the fact that we could do that, no one else could do that. Mm-hmm. We did that, and I was one of these days I'll bring some guys from Miami onto the show who were working that day and can tell you really what was going on.